quickly go and sort of download them just now if you wanted to. It's just a case of clicking onto what you want, and you can see there's an option to say download files, so you can download those files. This one at the bottom is this one here. So Alan's put together a nice kind of really chart table of a whole range of bits and pieces of that, bits of software, text-to-speech, dyslexia-friendly font, where you can get them from. So that's quite a good resource as well.
It's mostly a set of links to where to get the things, so that you don't have to scribble down notes during the course of the presentation that we're doing.
Yeah.
And there's a few extra things that we probably won't have time to cover as well, but yeah, we thought we'd just give you the whole lot.
Okay. And I think what Janina asked earlier about, could you sort of download and get all the links afterwards? Yes. So when you send the archive out, when Alan sends the link for the archive, when you go into the archive, all these links here will be active as well. Okay. So you can just go into the archive, find what you want, and get access to them. But I should say, most of these links here are all on the COL website. So these downloadable files on the left, they're all on the COL website if you want to go and download them. And of course, these are the links up here. Again, it's similar information. If you search through the website, you could find those too.
We've added a couple of links to Dyslexia Scotland websites as well to keep Lena happy.
Yeah,
and because they're very useful websites.
And of course, if you're a teacher, then you might want to have a look at the Addressing Dyslexia pages as well, the toolkit. And of course, there's the online thingamajig, Alan, what's it called, where people can go on and do a bit of online learning as well. That's quite good too. Yeah. That's the Open University modules that you can sign up to and do that as well. Yeah. Okay, great. So I'm going to move now just to the next, and we'll start looking at some software. So I'll just give you another few seconds just to see if there's anything. Are you managing to download them? Maybe just get a thumbs up or just say yes into the chat box. If you're getting them okay, we'll just give you a bit of time just to see that you're downloading them okay. Katie, yes, you've got them good. Okay, great that you're using the little icons. That's handy as well for us too.
If anybody hasn't spotted the hand icon, it's about the top of the screen, around about the middle.
Yeah, I wonder if I click on it, can you see it? No, I'm clicking on mine, but you can't see it. It's only me that can see it. But yes, they're coming through. So that's good. Okay, so they'll be there when Alan sends the link out. Okay, so we're going to move on to the first section, and that's going to be reading. So what I'll do is we'll move to the next part, and then I'll share my screen with you as well. Okay, so I'm just going to check I've got everything ready. I have. Okay, right. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I've got on my desktop. Great. Okay, so the first program we're going to look at, and this is really to support younger learners who maybe have reading, writing difficulties, is Clicker 7. It's a well-established program. It's been around for a long time. I remember back the days where it was Clicker 3, and it's obviously developed really great now. This is a website. I
remember the days when it was just Clicker.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I knew. Yeah. You name it, Alan's always had it before you. So that's so there's a website up there. Okay. I could see you posting messages. So what we'll do is when we finish each of the sections, we'll go back and we'll look at the messages and just try. We can answer them as well. Okay. So yeah. So this is the Clicker site. You can see it's as well as being available for Windows and Mac. You can also get it for the iPad. It's sort of broken down into smaller versions, and there's a version for the Chromebook as well. Now, if you thought, after seeing this, you thought, well, this might be quite good for some pupils I know, then you can get a free trial. There's a free trial just there. And also there's some really good, if I can find them actually, under support I think it is, or training. There's some really good, let's go into Clicker, training. You've got these 90-second training sort of videos that are really excellent. So I really recommend, if you have a look in there, they're really good for little short bite-sized types of learning. So that's Clicker, okay? So I'm going to get Clicker up now. I'm just going to bring Clicker, and hopefully I'm just going to go to Explorer and Quick Start. Okay. So when you start Clicker or Clicker 7, this is what you see. Okay, this is how it starts. Apart from the yellow background, I've just changed that. There's lots of good customization options in Clicker 7. And essentially, Clicker 7 is like, it's an empty platform. It's a sort of an empty framework that you can, with your people, with your learners, really create content that's accessible and useful for them. So when it starts, you get this option where you can start writing, just use it as a basic processor. You can maybe make a clicker board, a clicker book, and we'll look at some of these things that are there. Okay, so I'm going to close that. I wish I could stop these annoying notifications that keep coming up. So let's go to start here in the documents. We've got, at the very basic, Clicker is a very simple word processor that we can use. So if I just type in to say, I like to listen to music.
I like to listen to music.
Okay, you can see you've got that kind of text-to-speech where it's reading the information back. Now you can set that to either have it read individual words, individual characters, or individual sentences. So that's quite a useful sort of, I think, support for pupils. But if you need something a bit extra, what we now have is that we can use this word prediction that's built in. So now we can maybe see the word, but we're not quite sure. But if I right click on the word, I can hear the word. Same as I go down.
She, he.
So I want the word the. And now also, it's another really nice part of this program is that you get pictures in the word prediction as well. So you can also see the word, you can get a visual representation of the word, and you can hear it. So these are really, really very good. So we'll just say the woman was talking about, okay, that's the word about the future. How's that? And then we'll press that.
The woman was talking about the future. Okay,
so a really, really nice way of sort of, I think, you know, if people are struggling to write text, it's a really nice way of getting text down. So I'm going to unclick that. I've just remembered I've forgotten to bring my microphone set with me. It has this really nice feature here called voice notes. I can't demonstrate that without mine. So if I just, oh yes, it's kind of come up. So I won't be able to record anything, maybe unless it uses the built-in recorder, or it might use that one there. Yeah. So this is a really good feature. So I'm just going to say done to that. I'm just going to go down. Let's use voice notes. See how it works. So just imagine in class, and you're maybe explaining a concept or giving some information to the pupil, and you know they're just not really understanding what it is that you know the explanation or the description that you've given them. So what you can do is, if I press the little record icon, it's now recording. I can say, okay then, Alan, today we're going to be doing a webinar, and you have to make sure that all your programs are working, otherwise we might miss some valuable information. So I say stop, and now I say done. And you can see up here, I've got this red icon, so this little red balloon. And if I click onto that, it's now recording. I can say, okay then, Alan, today we're going to be doing a webinar, and you have to make sure that all your programs are working, otherwise we might miss some valuable information. Okay? Right. So of course, the other way that we could also do is that maybe the pupil wants to maybe just record, you know, maybe for whatever reason they're just finding it difficult to type, but they might have some inspiration, and they can use that in the same way to maybe record any kind of audio or any kind of information that they have. It also has some really nice features where you can add in word pictures and word art and all sorts of things. But where I would say that this program really comes into its own is when you use these sorts of things. So I'm going to just carry is when you get these kinds of really sentence banks or word banks. So this really, really helps the pupil to sort of get information down. Now, just now, you can see everything's kind of muddled up. So what I can do, if I just go into clicker sets, depending on, you know, the needs of the pupil, I can go into edit, and I can say what I want is I want a model or a sentence model on the grid, and I want it in sentence order. Now, if I say run, if I click on here,
the days get warmer and longer.
Okay, so now we can just, if I click on the sound shift tool, I can hear the word, the days get warmer and longer full stop.
The days get warmer and longer.
Okay, and you can sort of flick between the various kind of sentences, so you can build up your sentence. You can get a whole, you can have multiple sentence backs up as well if you're doing. And another really good feature of Clicker, if we go into Clicker Set and into Explorer, it has this thing called Learning Grids. So you can log into Learning Grids. You're looking for maybe something. Let's see. I want to do some summer words. I click on Run Now, and there you go. It's bang right into your document. So it's a great one for resources and for creating resources that you can have. Another good feature, and this is really the last thing I'm just going to be covering before I go into the next one. If I just go, let's click that off. Just say no. If I wanted to maybe have a new sentence bank of my own words, so maybe you're working on a topic in class. So I've got some words here. Just show you how quick it is. So we've got some basic sentences. Of course, this could be anything, any topic that you're working on. I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to say Copy. I'm going to go up to the clicker set up here, and I want a new clicker set. And you see you have all these kind of frameworks or structures all ready for you. So I want a clicker set. I type in that, then I just paste in from clipboard, then say Create. And there you go, we've got those words straight away. We can then go back, just as we did before, into Edit. We can have the model sentence on the grid. We can have them in sentence order. And then when I say Run.
On Monday, we played football outside.
So that's when I said, it's a bit like sort of an empty framework where you can really populate it with the content that you need. So that's Clicker. There's another, that's really for, I suppose, younger primary up until maybe late primary. But pupils who still maybe need the same kind of framework as Clicker, there's another program called Docs Plus, which is more suitable to secondary pupils as well. So it has less of the visual, but more sort of word banks and sentences that you can get access to. And it's a more sort of mature looking sort of environment that you have. So I'm going to close that off and just say no to that. And the next one I'm going to look at is this is purely for word prediction. And this program that we're going to look at is one called WordQ5, which, like Clicker, has been around for a long time, but it's actually really developed over the years and is really quite a nice program now. So if you go to I think it's Quillsoft, it's a Canadian company that make it, quillsoft.ca. You can have a look through the various, there's lots of video tutorials there. And we also have quite a useful section, as you can see, follow that thread, information, speech recognition, WordQ, SpeakQ. There's lots of good information on the Cole website as well. And you can also download a 30-day free trial of the software. So what does it do and what does it look like? Okay, so I have it here on my desktop. I'm just going to start it, open it up. And I'm going to open up a Word document. And just I've got my Ed memoir there. Yes, I've got that just to help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the word predictor and I'm going to click on speech. And I'm just going to type in. So you can see it works in the same way as the Clicker program, but as I hover over,
they sailed around the world word.
Okay, so I'm going to write the word sentence. Word prediction helps me to write. So I've also got, you can see,
articulate, counter, formulate, articulate.
Okay, so that's quite useful as well. All the time you can hear the words and see the words, so that's quite good support. Word prediction. Prediction. Let's see, let's get this up. Prediction.
Prediction.
It's not there.
It's not there. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's so that's quite good. So you've maybe got your third. By the time you type in the third letter, it's there as well. And what's really good about this particular program, like Clicker, is it recognises flexible spelling. So if pupils are spelling words phonetically, like elephant with an F or telephone with an F, those types of words, it recognises them and gives you the correct spelling. So that's quite good, I would say. So let's just type in help. So you maybe need the second one.
Helps. Us. Me.
To type or write.
Type.
There we go. Type.
Type.
I put in the full stop. Nope, that's not the full stop. That's the full stop. Where's my full stop? That's
Type.
the full stop. Okay. And what it would have done, it would have read that sentence out. Now, That's all very well, but it's using a generic kind of lexicon, a generic dictionary. But if you're working on topic-based kind of sort of curriculum, you might want to have, because you could see that I was maybe writing 2 or 3 letters before words are appearing. So if you want something that's more specific, what you can do is you can have create word lists. So if I could just go into options, for example, and go into my words, there's options there where you can create topics and make new topics, those sorts of things. So if you've got, visit sites like Wikipedia or BBC, these sorts of places, where you can get the text, bung it in, and it will generate topic lexicons for you, which is really good. But one of the new features with WordQ, which I think is very good, is you see this one here. It's quite small, I can see it on my screen, but it's called Topic. So if you have an internet connection, and I click on Topic, and let's see, I'm just going to click off words just now. I'm going to say, let's do something, say, Ancient Rome. Ancient Rome. Oops, I want to click it into the box. Ancient Rome.
Ancient
Rome. And then do a search for that.
Rome.
There you go. It pulls all those words in that are relative to ancient Rome. So if I click on the tick box now, and now, as part of my drop-down, you can see that ancient Rome is in there. Right, I've lost it now, so I'm just going to type it in again.
Ancient
Rome.
Rome.
Okay, those words are there. They're in my box, so I'm going to click them off. So now I'm going to type some information.
Word prediction helps me to type.
About the Romans, and I'm going to say ancient Romans. Let's get my words on first. Ancient. There's come top of the list.
Ancient. Ancient.
And there. Oh, sorry about that. Ancient.
Ancient times.
Okay, let's see. Rome. Romans is the word I'm looking for.
Romans.
Ancient Romans.
Romans.
Okay.
Were.
Or conquered. I'm going to say conquered.
And.
Conquered. There is no
Conquered.
list.
Conquered.
Okay. The world.
Could you put in something about elephants?
World.
World.
With
World.
elephants.
On
elephants.
elephants. Okay, and now there's the elephants with the F, and you can
Elephants.
see it's picked that up. Yeah, so that's quite
Elephants.
useful. On the telephone. Did they have telephones in this room by any chance?
Yeah. We had everything.
Okay, so there you go.
Telephone.
Telephone.
Telephone. Ancient Romans conquered the world on elephants on the telephone.
Okay, so I would probably fail for that if I handed that in. What do you reckon?
I'll give you
a bit
a
of
C+.
imagination.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
A
so
plus for imagination.
So there's an example of 2 word prediction programs, or 1 word prediction programs for older learners, and more of an extended framework, Clicker 7, for younger learners. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to pass over to Allan now.
I'm going to start sharing my screen.
Okay, and Alan's going to share his screen, and Alan's going to look at some spell checking in Word.
Yeah, it's all very well. I mean, one of the really good things about word prediction is you can be fairly certain that the words that appear on your page are going to be correctly spelt. They might not necessarily be the right words, but they will be the correctly spelled words. However, lots of people have got difficulties with spelling, and so I've got a document here that has got lots of spelling mistakes. And Microsoft Word, which is the word processor I'm using here, will usually underline words it doesn't recognize in red. And we can use the built-in spell checker to make corrections. For example, this most has got a red line underneath it because it's wrong. Now, what I can do is I right-click on the word and get up with this, says what most is. Most is on the list. If I'm not sure, let's see what else is there. Is that mope? I need to take my glasses off so I can see what it is. Muster. Oh, I think it's probably going to be most. But we'll just be on the safe side. Let's sort of actually hear it read out. If we click on the right arrow at the side, I've got an option to read it aloud. And for some reason, it is not reading.
Oh, no, it's up full fast.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
I'll need to do a
It
bit of
definitely reads it aloud.
investigating. Yes, it definitely
Okay.
does.
If you click it, I'll see most. Okay. Just
Right.
right.
Here we go.
Most.
Great Scottish voice, that one. It's our new Scottish voice called Craig. Anyway, having clicked that, then we would just click on change, and that's that one changed. So most cars are two-wheel drive, but some are four-wheel drive. The power come, let's do a right click on this one. Powered, now the word I'm after there is power, P-O-W-E-R, it's not there. So we'll just ignore all of those. Oh, didn't mean to ignore them, because that's taking away the red line. Never mind. It now thinks that P-O-U-R-E is a correct word. Power
How
comes
about
from
doing Control and Z? Would you quick
Control
and
Z.
Z?
Yes,
Just
that
undo
might
it,
do
that
sort of
might-
undo it.
So,
Control Z. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you're
thank you,
back.
Craig. So now it's gone back to being red. So sometimes the word that you're wanting isn't going to be in the list in Microsoft Word, which is a bit of a shame. But on the whole, the words spell checker has improved quite a lot over the years, and it can make quite a big difference, but it's not going to pick up everything. So there is an alternative spell checker that you could use. It's a program called Ginger, and I'm just going to bring up Ginger. I've got it installed as an add-on for my Word. So I just click on here. Wait a few seconds. Here comes a wonderful advert telling you all about the program. I'll just turn this off. And up at the top of the screen, I now have this sort of semicircle that I can do things with. I'm just going to click on the semicircle like that. And what it does is it copies the sentence you're in and it makes corrections. For example, it's now suggesting that it's power, P-O-W-E-R. So that's a one-up for Ginger compared with Word. And it's also correcting engine, which is quite nice. I've got the paid version of Ginger, which means that I can actually have these things read out, I hope. I'll see what happens now. No, I do seem to have issues with my text-to-speech on here.
I wonder if it's your headphones. That's maybe just plugging in your headphones and switch it off. Maybe.
Shouldn't be,
Yeah.
shouldn't be.
Anyway,
but
that
I'll
does
check,
read it
I'll
out.
check
Yeah,
that
that's
later.
another one. Yeah.
Yes, if you got the cheap free version, and I'll show you how to get the free version, then it won't read the text out, but the spell checking works just the same. I'll just go through another 2 or 3 more sentences of this. So it's got the power and engine both corrected properly. Clicked on approve, and it changes them automatically. And we get on to the next sentence. The engine powers the drive shaft. Usually, it hasn't picked up usually. The power goes to the back or to the front wheels. So it's missed usually. Usually it does get that if you pardon the gratuitous use of the word usually. But again, I could approve that. And then I could go back and let's just see what Word it does with that. Just do a right click on here. Postally, epochally, Woodhall. Nah, I don't think it's any of those. Anyway, we find that Ginger will usually correct about 90% of spelling mistakes. So if you're putting in, say, a job application and your initial draft has got 50 mistakes, the chances are that it'll end up in the bucket. But if you can get rid of that 50 mistakes, you can bring that down to 5 mistakes. The chances are the person reading it won't spot them all or will just put them down to the occasional typo. So it's nothing. It can certainly make a big difference to your document. I'll quickly show you where to go to get Ginger, because to actually find the free version can be a little bit tricky. This is a Ginger website. It's www.gingersoftware.com, and you can download the program. It'll encourage you to buy it. I think it's a monthly subscription, about $7 or $8, but they often have reduced rates. So if you do decide you want to go for Ginger, keep an eye on the site and just get it when it costs a bit less. However, if you scroll right down to the bottom of the screen, through all this stuff about boosting your productivity and all these sorts of things, right way down at the bottom, you'll find this option here for spell checker. So if you click on spell checker, and it comes in here, first of all, there's a little box that you can type into. So what you can do is you can type a mistake, something that's got a mistake in, like this is MyStudyBar. That's just a mistake. That's how you spell it, isn't it, Craig? That's
yeah,
right. Yeah. Let's just check. Go. Oh, we're both wrong. Right. Okay. So it's credited to this as a mistake. And if you want to get it free, you just click on this Get It Now Free. And what that'll bring you is the actual basic spell checker, which for lots and lots of purposes, it's very, very useful, and it saves having to mess around with these subscriptions.
So these cloud-based spell checkers are really good, aren't they? But as you say, they're not 100%. So always warn people they're not to rely on them totally.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever seen a spell checker that's perfect. But some of the technology is getting better. Right, that's about all I want to say about spell checkers. I just wanted to try to remember what I'm meant to be doing next. Oh, Craig's going to be doing mind mapping, so I'll just turn over to him. I'll stop sharing my screen, and then Craig will be able to share.
Okay, great. Thanks,
screen.
Alan. Okay, so we're going to look at mind mapping. And the mind mapping program we're going to look at is the one that comes free in MyStudyBar. So mind mapping tools are quite good for visual learning. If you often hear pupils or learners, students saying, I know what I want to write, but I just can't get it down on paper. So the ability to sort of connect ideas together and plan out your sort of projects or your essays is quite good. So if you want to, I'll show you what MyStudyBar is just now, and the program we're going to look at is one called XMind, and the guide. And if you go to the Call site or just do a search for Call Scotland MyStudyBar, you'll get come to the page. There you go. There's Jackie. He's endorsing it. It's a great software tool. I wonder if he was using it while he was driving around the track. And there's lots of tutorials here as well. Okay, and there's 2 tutorials on XMind as well, and a guide tutorial as well. So if you get, if we go too quick, you can go and have a look at them as well. And we've just actually done a new poster for MyStudyBar. So if you go to, you see downloads, Call Scotland downloads, posters and leaflets, MyStudyBar, there's a poster which sort of highlights the various sort of features that are in there, including the XMind, the mind mapping tool. So close that down.
Craig is so arty.
Oh, well, yeah. So I'm going to, there's my folder. So I've downloaded it, and when you open it up, it looks something similar to this. And when I click on MyStudyBar, I get this sort of floating toolbar. So a lot of the literacy support programs traditionally used to be based on this sort of floating toolbar. Even if you think we just looked at WordQ, it was a floating type toolbar, so it's similar. So MyStudyBar has a whole range of tools under planning, reading, writing. Are you demonstrating any of these, Alan? No, just me, is it?
I will be demonstrating some of them.
Oh yes, you're going to be doing
SS Overlay,
T-bar. So Alan will be doing them later. But I'm going to show you just now is...
Balabolka as well.
And Balabolka, okay. So I'm just going to go into...
Not leaving you much.
XMind, yeah. So XMind and so this is really, you can see it's just a blank slate that you get. And what you can start doing is, start doing topics and planning your ideas out, that sort of thing. And into topics, I'm just really quick, it's just I can then say insert, subtopic, that type of thing. But just to demo it, so you get a good idea, I can show you one that I made earlier. So if we
Best
go
Blue
to,
Peter fashion.
Oh yes. We go to open and say, what is dyslexia? So now you can see here we've got quite a nicely laid out mind map. Notice you can add images, you can add icons. That's Robert, that's Alan, just testing his sound. Yeah.
Statistics show
Yeah.
Turned it on, but
Okay,
couldn't
turn it
actually
off.
turn it off.
by 93% to
Uh,
almost 223,000
okay, that's okay.
in
It'll come to an end soon.
2017.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
But a father who
Oh,
lost
it's
a
going.
Supreme Court battle against a fine said he
It's
felt
cancelled.
partly responsible for the rise.
It's going in the
Unauthorised
background.
family
Sorry, folks.
holiday
Just get
absence
Alan. Just
is
maybe
the
click
most
them all off,
common
Alan.
reason
Just
for attendance
just
fines.
all
The
these
Department
ones.
for Education.
Ah, that's a good idea.
Fee.
That's it. Okay, right. So, so as you can see, we've you can use images, you can use icons. These icons all come part of Xmind. You can color coordinate the different ideas, these sorts of things. You can add URLs or links to build that into your map. So it's really is a fully blown sort of mind mapping program, but you're getting it for free. Just down on the right hand side are all the kind of properties. So this is where you can, for example, color the different sections of the mind mapping of the nodes and make them all. So once you've got your mind map sort of all laid out and you've got all your ideas down, the next thing is really to extend your writing. And this is probably where this particular program, because it's free, maybe is slightly limited. Because if I go up to File and I go to Export, you can see the only export features I have is HTML, image, I'm not sure what that is, or text or whatever, okay? Which doesn't really give you a great deal, particularly if you're writing in Microsoft Word. But what we can do here is if I choose HTML, now the tutorials on how to do this is on the core website. So if I click on HTML and I go to Next, okay, at this stage I can choose, well, what do I want to have in my Word document? Do I want to have the image map? Yes, I want that, so I can choose that. Do I want hyperlinks? Yeah, I want all those sorts of things. I can have attachments, a whole range of things. So you can uncheck those as you want them. So I'm going to just say, I'm going to call it, what is dyslexia? What is dyslexia? Dyslexia. And I'm going to browse it. Okay, where do I want it to go? I'm just going to say the desktop just now. But before I do that, I'm going to add at the end here is doc. Okay, the word doc. And of course, that's the ending for a Word document. So if I now say finish, and I get the message, are you sure you want to export it as this file name? I'm just going to say yes. I don't want an HTML file, I want a Word document. So if I say OK, off it goes. And now if I say yes, hopefully, it will come up and then you can see. So I might possibly need to reorganize the mind map, that sort of thing. But what I now have is really the structure from my mind map now in a Word document in different heading styles and different topics. So now we could just go in there and start adding the text. So we've got a structure which to work about. So that's a really useful tool. So I'll just quickly show you how to do that again. So let's go back in there. It's File, Export, HTML, then to Next, and then in there we're typing the file name and we add .doc at the end and then export it. And that allows you to take what you've done into the Word document to start extending your work. So that's Xmind, a really good Word mind mapping program. I'll just say no to that. The other one that's in MyStudyBar is, this is a kind of a newer feature I've put in there, and this one's called the guide. So if I click on the guide, when it first starts, you might think, blimey, what on earth is that? What do I do? Where do I start? Well, there's guides on this on the core site, but if I just go up into File, one I've got earlier, Introduction to the Guide, and if I just click on here, you can see essentially what it's saying there is that the guide is an alternative to a mind map, because mind maps don't suit everyone. So this is like a textual way of writing your essay. So rather than having it sort of laid out in that mind mapping way, it's just a way that you can get your ideas, topics, subtopics, those sorts of things. So you can see it's the same thing. You can add icons as well. It comes with all sorts of icons. There's a whole range of things. You can color the backgrounds, all those sorts of stuff. But now if I go to File, so I've got my ideas laid out, I kind of know what I want to do. If I go to File and I say Export again, just like we did before, I'm going to go to the desktop, and there it's saying it automatically does it as an RTF file, so that's a kind of a Word document. If I say save, off it goes, and if I minimize that, here it is now, just up here. Let's open it up, and here we go. And you can see it's really rendered it really nicely. It's very nice and clear. So I've got on, again, we can just go into those bullet points, start extending or enhancing the project that we've got, and then will be. Obviously, you would tailor this to suit your needs or the pupils' or students' needs. So that's really two, I would say, pretty good programs that you're getting for free in MyStudyBar. The tutorials are there, it's well supported. If you have any problems, just get in touch with us and we'll do our best to sort it. Alan's going to be covering these other areas later on as well, okay? So I'm going to stop sharing, and I think it's just time to hand over to Allan. Yep, so Alan's going to just quickly demonstrate voice recognition, and then we'll have a wee break for any catch-up on questions as well, okay?
Right. First of all, apologies for all the noises making in the middle of that. I was just working out why my device wasn't speaking properly. It's all sorted, as you will have heard. I'll maybe just turn up my volume a wee bit again, so you might be able to hear things. Okay, now, what I'm going to be doing here, using 3 different speech recognition programs. First one is the expensive option, which is Dragon. It used to be called Dragon Naturally Speaking, but now it's just called Dragon. And I'm using the Dragon Professional Individual version, which I wouldn't recommend that you get. If you really think that Dragon is the one for you, the version to get is Dragon Home, which costs a mere £139.99. Bargain! Anyway, let's just, and it's pretty much the same as the program that I've got on the screen here. So let's just see what it can do. Oh, I better put on my headset. Bear with me just a second while I get properly dressed for this. Right, now, just as well you can't see what I look like here. What clothes I'm wearing. What clothes am I wearing? Right. I'm now properly dressed. I've got the headset on. And I'm going to click on the green button. Go away. Right, I'm just going to do a wee bit of dictating. I've got a button, I've set up a button on my laptop that I can turn the microphone on and off. When the microphone is off, I get a sort of a red icon up at the top. When I turn the microphone on, it turns green. So here's the microphone coming on. Today is Thursday, and I'm demonstrating the use of a speech recognition program, full stop. That's pretty good. Exclamation mark. So far, comma, it hasn't made any mistakes. Full stop. I'll keep on going until it does make a mistake. Full stop. This is becoming boring. Exclamation mark. Please make a mistake. Exclamation mark. Right. I'm going to talk very, very fast. And hopefully it'll start making mistakes. It's made a mistake. Hooray! Now I can't remember what I said. I said, and hopefully it'll start making mistakes. But if I'm not sure what I actually said at this point, this has got a nice little feature called under the audio option. And it's called Playback, which lets me play back a recording of what I've just been saying.
Yeah, it just lost the speech, but it's reading aloud. It is reading aloud just now. We just can't hear it.
Yes, we've got issues with sound of this laptop. I thought I'd fix things, but didn't have a chance to fix absolutely everything. Another thing that you can do, that's actually a really useful one. If you see on the screen the words up here that aren't quite what you expected, it's a good tip to just have a listen to what you've actually said in the playback, because then you can say, oh yes, that's I stuttered there, that's why it's made the mistake, or I didn't say that word correctly, and you'll usually be able to work out just why Dragon gets something wrong. The other option, which probably won't work either actually, but we'll see, is what's known as read that, which will read back the text from the screen. And let's see what happens here. It's not going to work either. Very, very strange. It was as usual. It was working perfectly before we started. Well, I say perfectly. I've been having all sorts of issues with it earlier on, but I thought I got them all sorted. Yeah, the read that would be reading back the text from the screen. That's a feature that isn't in the £139 version. You'd have to pay £275 to get the read that, plus one or two other little things. Right, now, so the actual recognition in there is working pretty well. But we'll move on to using another program at this point. I'll just turn off Dragon, come out of that. And see, Dragon is quite expensive, but nowadays you can get speech recognition for free. For example, in Microsoft Word, recent versions, technically it's versions that are using what's known as 64-bit processing. So it's Word 16 and Word Online. It's got an option called Dictate. So click on Dictate. Today is Thursday, and I'm demonstrating the use of speech recognition program. Full stop. This is working pretty well. Notice that it is correcting capital letters at the start of the sentence. Full stop. It is a little bit slower than naturally speaking, but I think it is still pretty good, especially as it's free. Exclamation mark. And we'll just turn that off. Okay, that's the free Dragon Dictate. I would have tried using a text-to-speech program to read it back and just sort of see just how it compares to Dragon, but as my text-to-speech doesn't seem to be working, I'll just give that a bit of a miss. There is another free option. I'll need to go. This is one called Google Voice Typing, for which you need to be in the Google Chrome browser. So I've got the Chrome browser down the bottom here. And to get into voice typing, you'll see this little square here. This is how you can access various Google apps. So click on here, and we'll get various apps and things I can use. But I want to scroll right down to the bottom, and down here, I can click on it to get more options. And then I will get a thing called Google Docs. So click on Google Docs. I'm going to create a new blank document. I'm just going to change the size of the text so you'll be able to see what I'm doing. 24 points should be fine. And now I go up to Tools. Click on Tools, and down here you'll see an option for voice typing. So I'm just going to select the voice typing and click the microphone to speak. Today is still Thursday, And I'm still demonstrating the use of speech recognition software. Full stop. There is an issue with this program, I find. Full stop. You have to say full stop very quickly when you come to the end of a sentence. Full stop. Otherwise, it'll tend to write in full stop rather than putting a piece of punctuation at the end of the sentence. Full stop. That's probably extremely confusing. Right, just turn the microphone off there. Basically what it's trying to say is when you're using this, you have to think in terms of what you're wanting to say in a full sentence, and remember to say full stop as soon as you reach the end of the sentence. If you start thinking, gosh, was that the end of a sentence? And then say, oh yes, it probably was, so all right, I'll just say full stop. If you don't think to do that, you'll find out you've got the actual words full stop appearing instead of the punctuation. Right, that is a quick run through of various options to support writing. We've looked at a very basic sort of early learning tool. Well, it's actually quite a complicated early learning tool. It's Clicker 7. Really, really good program. It's a bit expensive, but it's really, really good, worthwhile. Lots and lots of schools are using it. And then Craig looked at WordQ, which is a much more straightforward word prediction program. And then we moved on to looking at spell checkers and then mind mapping. Mind mapping is really useful for actually thinking about your work and convert it then sort of thinking to planning exactly what you're going to write before you get down to the writing process. And then I went on to speech recognition. Now, you shouldn't really begin right at the start of the writing with speech recognition. It's much better to work up to the process. But we could say, think in terms of speech recognition, maybe later years in primary school, and certainly it's a useful tool for secondary schools. Right, that's me just about finished. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thanks, Allan. Yeah, stop sharing your screen. And so this is a chance now for you to ask some questions. And I've enabled your microphone, so if you have a mic plugged in, you might want to just, maybe you could do it either through the text box. Let's go to the question panel here. Through the text box, or as you say, you could use your mics to ask the question. So if there's anything that you'd like us to go over again, to maybe explain, just say. And I'm sorry that you've been having some sound problems, but I think it's maybe got something to do with Allan's mic.
It's me.
Can we pull your microphone out, Allan? I think that might resolve
no,
the problem.
I think I've sorted it.
You think you've sorted it? Okay, great. Right,
but I will take it out just in case.
Right, okay.
Because I won't be needing it anymore.
Okay, right. So, yeah. So if there's any questions, anything you'd like us to go back and cover, please say. And apologies for the sound. Can the speech recognition tools be used for Outlook for emails? I believe they can.
Yes.
Yeah, they can for Outlook. Is that right?
Certainly, Dragon you can use. You wouldn't be able to use it on the voice typing unless you sort of copy the dictate into voice typing, then just do a copy and paste. I think you can use it in Outlook. That you can use the dictate in Outlook. Because you can use dictate in quite a few of the Microsoft Office programs, certainly PowerPoint, Outlook, and I think you can use it in, it's PowerPoint, OneNote, and I think you can use it in Outlook, but I'm not 100% sure about that one. But if you see the little icon with a microphone marked dictate when you're in Outlook, particularly if you may be in Outlook with the online version of Outlook, you should be able to get it.
It's brilliant now. We're spoiled for choice, really, for so many tools, isn't they? Especially these dictation ones.
You used to just have to think about whether or not Dragon Dictate is going to work or Dragon.
Yeah. Has anyone tried any of these tools? I mean, we've looked at 3 or 4 or 5 tools now. Have you tried, or are you familiar with any of the ones that we've looked at? Dragon? Yeah. Did you have much success with Dragon, Bridget? No. Oh well. Well, hopefully you might have some more success with Google Voice Typing, or
Was it a recent version of Dragon that you're using?
was it a recent version, Katie? Yeah, it just takes time for you to recognise a voice. Okay, good. And I suppose that there's probably an issue, especially in schools and classes, if there's a lot of background noise. I don't know if does that affect it, Alan?
It's not quite such a big issue as it used to be, because the microphones are getting a bit better. But rather than the pupil picking up sound on the microphone, or the issue tends to be the pupil is using the speech recognition can be distracting for the other pupils. And they also can become quite self-conscious about using it in the classroom. So it's something you need to consider. Maybe something about the layout of the classroom. Is there a little sort of secluded space that the person can go off into while they're doing dictating, or maybe use a support base or a library or something like that.
And Catherine's made a good point. You like dictation tools at a universal level because children put things into their own words and are less likely to cut and paste. Also, they don't use words that they can't see or understand. And I think that's another issue for maybe dyslexic learners, is that they maybe have to compose in their head what they want to say first. So there's probably issues around, the right time to switch the microphone off, compose what you're going to say, switch the microphone on, say it, and then switch it off. Otherwise, if you talk like me, you're doing ers and ums all the time as well. So that's probably quite important too.